Okay, so today we're going to look at selective breeding. Selective breeding is when humans artificially select plants or animals to breed them together so that we can have particular genes in the population. So we're talking breeding different plants together so we can keep a certain gene, or particular animals with particular characteristics that we want to keep. We breed them together in order to keep those characteristics. So let's think about it simply. We could have two plants in terms of apples. So we could have two types of apple. One could be a red apple, and let's say it's red and tasty. So it's got two characteristics there. My other type could be my green apple, and okay, I'm going to say it's less tasty. Let's just say it's okay. Now, ultimately, I would like my ideal apple would actually be a green apple, and of course, I would prefer that green apple to be tasty. But that currently doesn't exist. We currently don't have that, and I would have to choose between one or the other. So what we can do is we can go, well, okay, these have got the traits that I want. This one has got the tasty characteristic, and this one has got the green characteristic from what I want. If I breed these two plants together, my hope is, at the end of it all, I would get my green, tasty apple. So I'm going to be happy. So let's think about, okay, well, what do we use this for mostly? We use it for useful or attractive traits, especially when it comes to agriculture. So when we think about farming, we might be thinking about the fact that if I selectively breed my cattle, I could breed them so that they produce more meat. I could breed them so that they start producing more milk. From a dairy farmer and produce more milk, I can sell more milk. It's even better. If I produce crops, so if I produce plants, it would be attractive if my plants were resistant to disease. So particular diseases that would normally kill my plants, stop them growing. If they've got resistance to that, great. And the same goes for frost resistance or pest resistance. These are all attractive and useful features that I might want to put into my plants or in my animals. Something a little bit closer to home is perhaps thinking about, mind the drawing, a pet dog. Now, a pet dog, when we think about breeding, we could also be thinking about what kind of things we want to breed in them. So we could be thinking about breeding for a better temperament, or a particular fur colour, a particular size. So we can use selective breeding for a range of reasons, always focusing on what are we going to get out of it. So let's think about the actual process, about what's involved. We would look at a population, and I'm going to stick with the idea of cattle for the meantime. So we can look at a population of animals. So let's imagine these are our cows and our bulls. And I'm going to say that this is kind, it's quite passive temperament. This particular animal produces tasty meat. This one produces a little milk. This one produces a lot of milk. And this one works well in heat, so in hot climates. Now, what I'd first do is have a little look at my existing stock and see what characteristics I want. So this is my first point from the existing population, what I have in front of me. I would select for the characteristics I want. So in this example, I'm going to go with, I want a lot of milk. Okay, I can sell that. And actually, I have tasty meat at the same time. That's great. I've got two options. They're the characteristics that I want. Then we just need to breed them together. And a little bit like our apple scenario at the start, we would hope that the offspring would have tasty meat and a lot of milk. However, that's not always the case. We're not always going to get it in that first generation that has been made. So what we would do is we would look at the population of offspring, and similar to what we've done here, we'd look through them and go, okay, so which ones are showing me the characteristics that I wanted, and then I would breed them again. So I select from the offspring and breed again. And I do this for several generations. So that means it's not going to be perfect in that first set of children, offspring. It's not necessarily going to be in the next lot of offspring or the next lot. But what we're doing is we're making those genes stronger, because we're always putting together a lot of milk and the tasty meat there. We're always putting them together, and then we put them together again and again and again. We ultimately should get to the point where we have our purest form. So after several generations, we can select those best offspring.